The night was quiet over Metropolis. But Superman knew quiet never lasted. Clark Kent had just finished typing a late article for the Daily Planet. The story had been about city redevelopment. But his mind was restless. Something in the air felt off. He stood at the window, glasses reflecting the city lights, heart thudding with an instinct honed by years of being both man and legend. Lois Lane was asleep at home, peaceful. But Clark couldn't stay still. He stepped onto the balcony and listened. The city whispered, cars humming, voices fading, a distant siren, but beneath it all, there was something else. A pulse. A vibration he hadn't heard before. He rocketed into the sky, leaving behind a streak of red and blue. Above the clouds, he closed his eyes and stretched his hearing. There it was again, a frequency, unnatural, mathematical, almost like a coded distress call. It came from the outskirts of Metropolis, near an abandoned industrial complex. He descended silently, boots touching cracked concrete. The place smelled of rust and secrecy. Superman walked through the shadows until he saw the glow, green, faint, poisonous. Kryptonite. But not in its raw form. A man stood in the center of the warehouse. Tall, sharp-featured, dressed in black with a green emblem glowing faintly on his chest. Kal-El, the man said softly, his voice calm yet heavy. Do you know who I am? Superman narrowed his eyes. No. But you've been calling me. The man smiled. My name is Doran Vex. Krypton's forgotten son. Superman's breath caught. Krypton had no more survivors. At least, none he had ever heard of. Impossible, he whispered. Doran Vex stepped closer. My family live on the edges of Krypton's society, scholars in forbidden sciences. When the planet died, we had precautions. I was cast into the void, preserved. And now, I have returned. Superman's instincts screamed danger, yet curiosity tethered him. What do you want? Doran Vex's eyes glowed faintly with the same hue as the emblem. I want to finish what Krypton never allowed me to begin. I want to rebuild. But not your way. The words echoed. Superman clenched his fists. You sound like Zod. Doran Vex shook his head. General Zod was crude. He wanted domination. I want evolution. And for that, I need Earth. Before Superman could answer, the floor quaked. Machines unfolded from hidden walls, tall constructs powered by kryptonite cores. They moved with insect precision. Doran Vex raised a hand. Meet the Sentinels of Renewal. They lunged. Superman fought swiftly, smashing through metal, heat vision slicing joints. But every strike released a burst of kryptonite energy that weakened him. His skin burned, his strength faltered. He staggered but kept fighting. Doran Vex watched with calm satisfaction. You see, kryptonite can be more than poison. It can be progress. Superman gritted his teeth, forcing his body forward. He destroyed the last sentinel with a desperate blow. Then dropped to one knee. Doran Vex knelt beside him. You could join me, Kal-El. Together, we could lead. Your compassion, my knowledge. We would forge a Krypton that never fails. Superman looked into his eyes, searching for any hint of honesty. But all he saw was ambition disguised as destiny. I will never rule Earth, he said firmly. And Krypton's legacy is not domination, it's survival. Doran Vex's expression darkened. Then you are my first obstacle. With a sudden burst of green energy, he struck Superman across the warehouse. Walls crumbled, debris fell. And the night swallowed them in chaos. Superman crawled from the rubble, coughing, muscles trembling from the kryptonite radiation. But he forced himself to rise. I face worse, he muttered. And with sheer willpower, he flew forward, tackling Doran Vex through the roof. They soared into the sky, trading blows across the stars. Doran Vex's power armor shimmered with energy, amplifying his strength to near equal Superman's. The battle painted streaks of light across the heavens. Every punch shook the night. But Superman's heart was steady. He remembered his parents, Jonathan and Martha Kent, teaching him that strength meant nothing without purpose. And he thought of Jor-El, who had sent him to Earth not to conquer, but to live. That memory fueled him. He drove Doran Vex down toward the ocean, slamming him into the waves. The sea erupted, swallowing them both. Underwater, the green energy hissed like fire. Superman held his breath, eyes blazing, heat vision piercing through the deep. The armor cracked. Doran Vex roared, fury and fear colliding. You cling to weakness. Your humanity corrupts you. Superman shook his head. My humanity saves me. With a final surge, Superman tore the kryptonite core from the armor. It exploded in the water, shockwaves scattering fish and rock. Both men were hurled onto a barren island. Superman gasped, chest heaving. But he rose again. Doran Vex lay broken but alive, fury burning in his eyes. This world will never accept you. You think they love you, but they fear you. Superman stood over him, cape torn, but voice steady. I don't need their fear or love. I just need to protect them. He bound Doran Vex with steel torn from the wreckage. Then, lifting him into the sky, Superman carried him to the Fortress of Solitude. There, crystal prisons hummed, ready to contain even the most dangerous beings. Doran Vex screamed promises of return. But Superman remained silent. When it was done, Clark returned home. He slipped through the apartment window quietly. Lois stirred, eyes opening. Another long night, she whispered. Clark nodded, exhausted but at peace. She touched his face gently. You're still you. That's what matters. He smiled faintly. Outside, the sun began to rise, golden and hopeful. Metropolis woke to another day, unaware of the war fought above their heads. And Superman, son of Krypton, raised by Earth, stood ready for whatever came next. Because the world would always need him. Not as a ruler. Not as a god. But as a man who chose to be a hero.